How long have you been on the hurricane beat?
So I really became all about hurricanes after Hurricane Andrew in 1992. I mean, I've been in Miami since 1983, but in the 80s we didn't have hurricanes. So the first big hurricane that I actually covered was '89, was Hurricane Hugo. But when Andrew happened in '92, then what I realized is how little I knew about hurricanes and how much there was to learn, and how much the community, both the meteorological community and the emergency management community, had to learn, and we've come a long, long way since Hurricane Andrew.
What's your impression about the improvement in forecasting?
The improvement in forecasting is spectacular. The issue we have today is not how good the forecast is. The issue we have today is in communications. It's harder to communicate today than it was 30 years ago, because nobody's really quite sure exactly where to get the full set of information that involves what's the hurricane forecast, what are we supposed to do about it in the local community, what's likely to happen here. Back in the day, you turned on the local television, and that's where you got it. Now, people they don't do that in the same way. Some people don't even have access to local television, and they get fragments of it from various sources online, on Facebook, on YouTube, on somewhere else, and they end up surprised by what happens and less likely to be fully informed.
When you're in your normal work, you don't get to give much of a public service message. Can you give me one? Can you tell me what you want people to understand and do in hurricane season?
I want them to really think out how they would function if they were in a location with no power, no water, and no cell phone service. How would they exist? Because many places along the coast that gather people, these high-rise buildings, here in South Florida we have incredible high-rise buildings sitting right on the beach, and the buildings are going to stand. And it will be safe to be in the building on the second floor, the third floor, a low floor, protected from the wind. I don't think there's any question about that. But if you're in that building along the beaches, the roads are full of debris, so you can't really walk or drive out. You can probably walk out somewhere, but where are you going to go with no power, no water, and no communications? And so you end up being stranded in these high-rise buildings. We could have hundreds of thousands of people stranded in high-rise buildings in South Florida. I don't think that folks have imagined themselves caught in that situation, as we were just talking about in the Lower Keys in Hurricane Irma. People were trapped down there and couldn't communicate. It was a horrible, horrible feeling and a horrible situation. So that's the red flag is that possibility.